And welcome back, y'all. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. I am moving through, and we are together moving through the New Year, New You theme. And you've seen me do videos and on the show, and when I do my check-ins, there are several tools that I've been using, and one of the tools that I use is a continuous glucose monitor. So I thought I'd spend some time just kind of describing continuous glucose monitors in general, and then today I'm going to go through the Freestyle Libre app. And just walk through the menus so that we can see what the things are that are there. So this is my monitor right now. I'm 111. Is what my blood sugar is, but I want to spend some time kind of going through and talking about how the continuous glucose monitors work in general, just a quick overview, and then I'll go into the app. Now, if you have if you were on our show when we did a check-in this last 72 hours, I actually changed out my Libre. And let's see if I can get that to come up here in just a minute. But I changed out my Libre, so if you've not done so, you can go back to the last check-in that I did at 72 hours where I walked through that. And it's on the playlist that's called How to Put Your Diabetes in Remission. It's also on the playlist that's titled How to Be Successful at Fasting. So right at about 10 minutes and 30 seconds in that video is when I'm changing out my Libre. But continuous glucose monitors. What are continuous glucose monitors? Traditionally, we have had glucose monitors, and the glucose monitors have been monitors that give you a specific number, a one-time number, right? So something, you check it, and you'll see that there. All right, so that's the glucose monitor, typical one. Now this one happens to be a glucose and ketone monitor that I've been using, and so you guys have seen me use that before. But a continuous glucose monitor gives us a blood sugar that is supposedly continuous. Now it simulates continuity, but it's actually not continuous, right? It is mostly continuous. Most of the continuous monitors will check blood sugars every 1 to 5 minutes. But so anyway, so you apply the sensor as you put it in the back of the arm. Go back and watch that video that we did. But let's kind of walk through what we can see in the. This is the Libre once again. We'll come back and we'll do one of these for the Dexcom. So the Libre, this is what the main screen looks like. And if you go up to the menu, you'll see I have my name there. And then the home screen, right, which is where we are. And this home screen allows you to see data for about 12 hours, right? So from midnight to midnight is what you'll see. And you'll see that tracing there. And once again, even though it shows continuous, then it's not really continuous because there are intermittent gaps there, but much more frequently than you would be able to check, okay? And it gives you what the current blood sugar is. And you'll see the arrow that's right next to it. That arrow says that my blood sugar is steady, right, going straight across. If the arrow was going up, straight up, that means the blood sugar was rising. If it was going straight down, that means blood sugar is dropping, right? And those are rapidly. If it's going up on an angle to the right, then that means it's rising, but it's not quickly. Same thing going to the right and down. And I don't have a picture of one of those. I think there is in the help section. There you go. So that is rising. That is rising. This is a high blood sugar that's rising. This is a blood sugar that's stable, going straight across. Once again, high but stable. But you get the idea. Okay, so you can get into the reference. But anyway, back to the home screen. And the range right now is from 70 to 180, and that's the green part that you see there, 70 to 180. You can actually change that. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's see. Let's go to settings, and under settings, Report settings, I can change what that number is. I'm going to say 70. Let's make it 150. 70, 150. Go ahead and save that. And you see that it changes there. And now if I go back to my logbook, go back home, you'll see that the range has changed. So that range is much narrower. In fact, let's go ahead and make another change. And let's make it 120, because I tell my patients I want their blood sugars between 100 and 120. So let's go ahead and make that change. And I'm going to change this to 120, and then this one I'm going to make it 100. Okay, so my 100 to 120 is really tight, by the way. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to have to save it. And now if I go back and I look at my graph, you'll see that that area, the green area at the bottom there, is much thinner, and it now shows that there are times when I'm below 100 and times when I'm above 120. Okay, so notice that even though my blood sugars, quote unquote, are good, then the range still tells me that I'm outside the range. All right, so remember the range, we can set the range to whatever we want. Usually for safety, 70 to 180. If you look at all the studies, that's what they will say. I usually tell my patients 100 to 120. You'll see that's much narrower than the 70 to 180. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to change this back to the 70 to 180. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, we're going to save that, and then now back here. Okay, all right, so that's all. That's the things that we can do there. We can also set an alarm. Notice that our alert, and let's go back under settings. Let's see, where are my alarms? There we go. Okay. So my alarms, low blood sugar 70 and high blood sugar of 250. So if my blood sugar goes below 70 or above 250, then this thing is set to alarm. All right. If it gets down to 55, which is that very top number, then that will give me an urgent low glucose alarm. Okay. And then signal loss alarm. So if I move away, often, I'll leave my phone here in the studio, and I may go over to my son's room, which is on the other side of the house. And if I'm gone for a while, when I come back, when I'm heading back in this direction, I'll see that the blood sugar, I'll hear an alarm. Okay, so that's it. All right, so let's go back and let's just walk through these. But I wanted to show you all the things here on this screen. At the bottom, you can actually add a note. Whether you're eating, whether you've taken some insulin, rapid, long-acting, whether you're exercising, you can add comments down there at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to just put there demo show. So I can put that. And now, right, so it saved that. And you'll see here at the top, if I click on that, it'll show me what that note is. And I can go and I can edit that further. Right, so that's this screen. Here on the logbook, it will show me what events I have. Okay. Now, this thing will not put all of the blood sugars into this log that I'm having, right? Because I'm having thousands of blood sugars per day. It won't put them all, but anytime you add a note, then it will put the note and what the blood sugar is at that time, and also put the time. So you can, once again, click on this, and you can go directly to that particular thing. So let's do, let's add another note, and that's the time. And I'm going to say that another test during demo show. All right, so when I did that, say done. Now I've got 2 of those, and I can go back and it'll go directly to that. Now, notice that it didn't change the number because it essentially is the same time. So that's the logbook. You can do the alarms, which we just went through. Daily patterns. I like this one because it gives me a lot of information. you'll see there, this is what my graph looks like for the 19th to the 25th, right? So that's 7 days. That's the last 7 days. I can actually go through and I could change what I look at. So time in range, and this is that right now my range is set to 70 to 180. And it says that I've been in range for the last 7 days, 97% of the time. Now that will change depending on what my range is, right? If I go to, and let's just hop over to the 90-day, and let's see what that looks like. So over the last 90 days, I've been in target 90% of the time. 8% of the time I've been low, and that's probably during the time when I was fasting. If you guys have been watching, you know that that's what we've been doing. And then 1% have been in the 181 to 250. And that was probably when I was in Jamaica. And if you guys remember, I ate some patties and drank some coconut water, and my blood sugar spiked up. So time in range. I could also get low glucose, right? So this tells me the times when I've gone low, when this thing recorded it. And over the last 90 days, you'll see when I've had lows and at what time. I don't think you can, this one won't allow me to go to that specific time, but I can do that. Now, one of the things that you see on the screen is I can actually hit the share button, and I can create a message. I can send a message to someone, all right, with that, or I could send an email to someone with that, okay? Or I can, let's see, I can delete that draft, right? I can airdrop it. I can send to whoever I would like. So we're not going to do that now. The other thing we can see is what our average blood sugar has been. And let's take a look at that. And down at the bottom of each of these, you'll see it'll tell me what the average blood sugar is. Now, one thing that you guys can't see is down at the bottom, I can change the dates. And let me see if I can. See what's the best way to do that. Okay, hold on a second, guys. Let me do one. Let's see if I can change this. Because what I want is I want you to be able to see down at the bottom. No, that's not what I want to do. Okay, so right now I can't show you at the bottom, but at the bottom I have some tabs that allow me to do 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, and then of course 90 days. And of course the 90-day one takes a while because there's a lot of data. Okay, all right. So average glucose. I can also see what my daily graphs have been. Right? And I can scroll through. And you see there was a low down there at the bottom. And then my glucose management indicator. So once again, that's 90 days. That's what they, and once again, I don't want to say A1C, estimated A1C, but essentially. So I can do that for 90 days. And here is the 30-day, 5.7. Here's the 14-day, 5.7. Here's the 7-day, 5.8. Okay. And I should be getting my labs here in a few days. So we'll be able to see whether that's accurate or not. And then, of course, sensor usage tells me for each of those times how often, how much time I've been using the sensor. And so see 93. Let's go back to 90 days. Once again, it takes there's a lot of data there. So it's taking a while to kind of pull that up. right? But that's one of the reasons I love these reports, because there's so much data, so much information that you can get from the reports themselves that you can then use to structure what you do in terms of management. And so you'll see there 1,557 views. That's how many times I've kind of looked at this thing. 17 views per day. So I'm looking at this 17 times per day. And over the course of 90 days, 100% of the time, my sensor has been active. Now, the only time that it wouldn't be active is, of course, when I'm changing. Okay. And that really is a pretty quick, at least the way I do it is pretty quick. As soon as that goes off, I typically change it. All right. So that's my daily pattern. And then, of course, on the menu there, you'll see some of the same things. So I can also see what my time and range is, just like I did from the report, low glucose events, average glucose, and and then daily graph, then my glucose management indicator, and sensor usage. So all of those are under reports, but if I'm in here, I can actually just click and I'll see that same drop down list. Okay. And then, of course, some of the other things that I need to do is start a new sensor. And I'm going to say no to this because I have a sensor on and I don't want to do anything that's going to mess that up. Connected applications. And here is where you can do several things. One of the things that you can do is the top one, if you click on that, that will share it with your diabetes care team. So I have patients who connect their monitor to our office so that when they upload, like if someone calls and says, hey, I'm having a low blood sugar, I can actually have one of my team go in and pull their data down without them having to come to the office. The one at the bottom that says Libre Link Up allows you to share your information with people. And I think you can share this actually with up to 5 people. So, if you have a child that's away at school, they can share it with you, can share it with auntie, share it with cousin, share it with brother, sister, whoever. You can share it there. Let me just go there. And you can say add a connection. And basically you put the person's name and their email address. It sends them a message that says, hey, you've been invited. And then once they say yes, then it will instruct them on what they need to do. Okay. So I love that feature. We actually use that feature quite a bit for patients who we see in the office, or people or clients that we see. Then they can connect their data to me without them having to physically be where I am. Or when patients are coming into the office, we don't have to actually take their meter. They just say, hey, I've been uploading. We go into the cloud, we pull it down, and we can get that information. And then, of course, reminders. You can set reminders in here. I don't have any reminders. I just don't. But if you have trouble remembering to take medication, this is a place to put it. If you have trouble remembering to exercise, you can add it in here, and it will send you those reminders. Why don't we just go ahead and add one? Let's put one there and let's make it repeating. And we're going to say every day. Let's go back to that one and let's give it a name. Let's see, reminder, go live. And why don't we, let's change this. It is repeating, but I'm going to just make it, because Mondays at 7 p.m. right, is when my show is. So I'll just make a reminder there. So there you go. Okay, go live. So that's going to go off tomorrow. I'm going to leave it. All right. And then, of course, settings. And we looked at the settings earlier. We can change how we see the data. So I'm in the United States. And in the United States, we use milligrams per deciliter as the units for blood sugars. Report settings, we looked at that. That's the range. Carbohydrates. So we can look at carbohydrates in grams or servings. I'm not going to take time to get into what the difference is right now, but 15 grams of carbs versus a serving of carbs, and one serving is typically indicated as 15 grams. Now you could change that down here at the bottom. Like if I say servings, I can tell it how many grams I want one serving to be, right? And the convention is that it's actually 15. Right? I just like grams, so that's what I talk in. But I think in 15s. That's when I'm talking to people. I use grams per grams of carbs per serving, but in my head I'm actually converting it, right? So I usually talk in 15s. Of course, account settings, and that tells you all the information that's there. Account password and account options, right? You can sign out, you can delete the account, and so forth. So that gives you just a basic overview of what the app looks like. I also let me hop over here, and I'm going to show you. And if you've been following us, you know that you can also look at this data, not just on the app, but you can actually go to the website and you can see that information there as well. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling that up, and then let's pop over and take a look at that. So this is what that report looks like. Let's go ahead and do this one. And actually I have a new view that I want to try out. So let's do that right now. Let's do this one. Okay. And so my target range. All right, so there's my target range, 70 to 180. It tells you that I've been in target 85% of the time. And this is over 2 weeks, by the way. And 15% lows. Over here, what it says my average glucose has been is 102. And the glucose management indicator, 5.7. Glucose variability has been like 25%, okay, which is kind of high, but hey. Let's see. Now let's scroll down. And the other thing that we see here is some more information that was not on the mobile app. So each of these is a 24-hour period. So each of these boxes that you'll see, right? So each of these boxes, right, is a 24-hour period. And so 7 on top, 7 on the bottom for 14 days. And then as we move through, this is a calendar, right, for the month. And for each day, depending on, and this is, once again, this report is for 14 days. So I can make a report for 1 week, 14 days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, or I can do a custom report. But what it will give me is the average glucose for that particular day. Okay. So it'll tell me what the average glucose is. It'll tell me how many times we've looked at it. It'll tell me whether I've had lows, and the lows are those arrows, the red arrows that are pointing downward. And so if I continue scrolling, what I'm looking for, what I want to get to, not looking for, is I want to get to these, because these are those boxes that we saw, 7 on top, 7 on the bottom, so 14 days. So these are just an expanded version of that. And so I could see over the course of the day what my blood sugars have been. And you'll see there, just go straight across, straight across, straight across. Right around here, you'll see some low blood sugars, right? That's the red that you see. And then, of course, over here it tells me what my average blood sugar is. And it does tell me that I did have a low event. Okay. And so just more of the same as we get further into this report. Now, this one right here is a composite, right? So it's taken all of those days, and this is 14 days once again, and it's plotted all of the graphs for the 14 days onto one table, onto one graph. And you'll see the dark line that you see kind of running running through there. That's what the average of those 14 days has been. Right, so I'm not doing a very good job of following the line, but that's okay. All right, and then it tells me what the 25 and 25th and 75th percentile are around that line. Right, so that's what the gray is, the grayish part. The 25th percentile is, or the 75th percentile is the darker gray, and then the lighter gray, I think, is the 25th percentile. Okay. And so that brings us to the end of that. Let's go back over here to look at. And so notice, even as we've been sitting here, my blood sugar started out at 111, and now it's 117. Okay. And sometimes people will see that and say, hey, there's something wrong. Well, no, it's nothing wrong. It's just that your blood sugars fluctuate over time. I kind of tell people that's kind of when, like, driving a car. When you get in your car, you start driving, you don't go the same speed the whole time, right? Because, as you're driving down the highway, you have occasions where you slow down, or you speed up, or you move into another lane. All of those movements that you're making are similar to what goes on in the body. The blood sugars rise and they fall. As I do more things, I need more energy, so my blood sugars may go down at that time. As I'm relaxing, then my blood sugars may go up. If I'm doing something that's stressful, I may see spikes in the blood sugar, right? So all of those things are the normal processing of your body. Now, the blood sugar doesn't stay the same all the time. And sometimes people will see that and they think there's something wrong. And no, there's nothing wrong. Is that your blood sugar changes. The only reason you know they're changing is because you're seeing it with this monitor, right? So once again, 117 on the continuous glucose monitor. This is the Freestyle Libre. And we will come back and we'll do other shows where we review some of the others, several pieces of software that I use. So continuous glucose monitors, and we'll come back and we'll look at other things. Remember, our goal is to get healthy. Our goal is to put our diabetes in remission. Our goal is to improve our weight and our risk for coronary artery disease and our obesity and polycystic ovarian syndrome and metabolic syndrome and hypertension, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. All of those things get better, but one of the things that we need to do is make sure that we are monitoring, right? Monitoring. If you want to make some changes, you have to monitor what you're doing. Anyway, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. Glad that you were here. If you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and put hashtag replay. Let us know what monitor you use, even if you're not using a continuous glucose monitor. Now, I'm told by the companies that they are coming out with a version of this monitor that you can buy over the counter. Okay, right now, often insurances may not cover this, particularly if you don't have diabetes. But I think it is a wonderful tool that even people without diabetes can use. And so the question is, how do we get them? Well, they're coming out with versions of this right now. Your doctor, even if you are not diabetic, your doctor can prescribe it. The insurance may not cover it, and then you'll have to pay out of pocket. Okay. So, but they're coming out with versions that will not, I'm told, will not require a prescription. So we look forward to seeing some of that and seeing other things that may be coming into the market. Anyway, once again, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, we educate, we empower, and we encourage you to take charge of your health, take charge of your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, y'all, new year, new you. We'll see you at our next show.